book review time. I've been procrastinating. Let's pull it up. Alright. Wow, I love how whitewashed I am when the screen is completely white. Oh no! Alright, let's see. Alright, we've got 6 books that I have devoured lately. Starting with where we left off. Okay. I don't know. I think I kind of read these a little bit out of order. I've just tried to... Sometimes I read nonfiction with fiction, and so usually the nonfiction gets dispersed in between while I'm reading fiction, because that's way more enjoyable. But we'll start with my nonfiction book first, I suppose. I do like to read. I'm a big reader. Usually if I'm not streaming that night, I'm usually reading a book. So, but since I started streaming, I thought might as well start writing reviews and stuff for books too. So since I've started streaming, I guess I've read 16 books so far. Poetry? I have some poetry books. I'm not a big poetry reader. I'll maybe check out some poetry stuff. I don't mind it, but I'm more of a, I don't know, more fantasy-ish. I like fiction. I just like stories that I can disassociate from the world. Oh man. Golly. Do I need to add like a... There we go. Now I'm not completely blowing my... I'm not completely glowing white with the camera. There we go. Alright. So I read this one a little while ago. I will admit, I knew this author. I'm a fan of her YouTube channel. I have, so I was aware of her in the first place. To promote a book? Sure. I could add it to my read list. Is that the title of the book? Who wrote it? We can do a small segue. Connection through empathy. Oh, I had it, and then it... Okay. Small rant. Goodreads sucks as a book app. Where'd it go? It was literally there. Okay. I don't understand. It's by you? Okay, I'll add one to read. Nice. Do you self-publish and everything? That's exciting. That's super cool. I'll add it to my reading list. Cool. Just started? That's cool. I've always considered maybe writing, but I've never actually sat down to become an author. It's always been... It sounds like a cool thing, but I don't know if I'll ever get around to it. I like consuming. I like consuming the novels. But book number one, Smoke Gets in Your Eyes. This was on my read list for quite a while, mainly because I like her YouTube channel and I think she's just really interesting. I think the United States society and our culture around death is very hidden, I would say. I don't know. We try to put it behind a closed door, and we no longer really associate with death anymore. We try to make it, as less. None of us really like if unless you're in like a profession that like you would have to be around dead bodies and stuff. Like you really rarely see it. Um, and so I think this book was really, really good in the sense that um, she kind of goes over like why the United States. She goes over a little bit of the history, kind of starting with like the Civil War, how like the United States and like death and its relationship around death changed quite a bit. And so I thought that was super interesting. Um so we're going to change currently to red. Done. And then rate this book. Write a review. There we go. So I really enjoyed that fact of the. I really enjoyed that concept of the. Respecting the dead, maybe. I don't think she really goes. I mean, obviously, she talks about like good things and bad things to do with respecting the dead. But I think she just, I think this book is more just focused on like the history of like why the United States has kind of like why it's kind of just behind a closed door in the first place, how society has changed. And then it also goes into like some, she kind of goes into like examples of like other cultures and how they treat death, and some very, like ones that would like completely shock, I feel like, most Americans, I think. But then I think she just also has like a really, really good conversation about death in general. And then I guess just a good discussion of like some morbid topics as well. Um, she has like a discussion about like embalming and cremation, and then having more of like a greener way to like for like bodies and burial and stuff. So I really enjoyed it. But I love morbid topics. So I'm gonna give it a 5-star because I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I thought it was very eye-opening. Very eye-opening. Great discussion on the, I don't know, I would say US's culture around death and how, I don't know, how do I do this? How bodies are treated and how, I don't know, and what happens to bodies after you die. I love a morbid topic though, but but I don't know. How do I want to word this, I suppose? Very eye-opening, because I just like, especially because I've only been to like a couple funerals in my life, so I've only seen a couple dead bodies, and they were clearly embalmed and stuff. But man, this has completely convinced me that I absolutely do not want to be embalmed. The thought of just getting all of like my body parts, like, or all the liquidy body parts sucked out of me and then pumped full of formaldehyde and preservative chemicals, just not a fan of. Yeah. Process of someone dying and being aware. Yeah. I love a morbid topic. And I think we should all be, I don't know, I think this brings up some important discussions about death in general. Has fully convinced me that I do not want to be embalmed, and which is actually ironic because as a chemist, it's kind of funny seeing that because we have embalmed so many bodies and then buried them, we're actually permanently I should type my ums. We are actually like poisoning our groundwater systems with the amount of chemicals I think that we are burying humans with. When it's like, I feel like it should be more of a natural process. We should allow our bodies to decompose back into nature for like the cycle to regenerate. But she works in a crematory, and so there's definitely, if you're not a fan of death or hearing about how some bodies get treated or just the morbid realities of how your body is prepped for funerals or cremation or being embalmed in general, I think it's probably not your kind of book, but definitely my type of cremation is a good way to go, I think. I think that's an easy way, but I was looking up, but I just like that there's like more options today. I definitely don't think I would I'm conflicted about donating your body to science, mainly because you don't get the say of like what your body actually gets donated to. So like I'm aware that there's like death farms, there's training places where like your body will just get blown up and then people have to train like on like taking your body parts, you know, or dealing with your body parts, or like having your body just like decompose or get sent up into space. If you don't want that, like donating your body to science, like you don't get a say in that matter. Whereas like I wish you could have a say on like you would like to be a body for like people going to school for like anatomy and stuff. I wish you could have a little bit more say over like that kind of stuff, because if you donate your body to science, usually if you go for like if your body gets donated to like a school or something, eventually you will be cremated. But I don't like that you don't get the choice of like where your body would truly go. That I do not want to be embalmed, and we as a society should consider moving away from embalming in general. But that's just me. But that's just my, in my opinion. LOL. These are very serious book critiques, y'all. I also think it's interesting how we don't have a lot of these conversations, or at least she experienced a lot of people where, or like people don't consider about like death and what to do with bodies until, you know, your family member or someone you know has died and then you're finally like in charge of it. I think this book has also helped me like put together thoughts on like wanting to actually have conversations with like my family members on like what they want and then like what I want as well, because it's like I'm gonna definitely try and choose a place where like I can actually be there for the process. I want to be able to, I don't want a stranger, you know, cleaning my parents' dead bodies and stuff. I don't want a stranger disposing of my dead parents' like bodies. I want to maybe like I just want to be there for the process to be able to make sure that I can send off my family well. I don't know. Because I feel like being able to have that aspect of being able to say goodbye and things like that. It's hard to say though, because I'm not super religious. So if you know you're religious and stuff, there's all sorts of different ways and things that can go about. But I just thought this was a good book in general because death um, is not discussed that much in our society, and I feel like we should make it more of a conversation and less about funeral homes trying to sell you expensive, unnecessary procedures on dead bodies, if that makes sense. Because she does kind of go delve into a little bit about like how she's not a fan of a lot of funeral industries because they're just gonna try and sell you the most expensive casket or you should have this expensive ass urn when it's like it seems it should be a little bit less about that and more about being able to give your loved ones the proper goodbye or disposal. Disposal seems like such the wrong word, but I guess like in reality that's what it is, you know? I don't know. Hard to say. It's a challenging decision, I think, and I think that it's just good to be aware of like these options and stuff like that. So, this is I have very little to do with the death world in my life currently, but it was a nice discussion about death in general. I think she also has a really good chapter on suicide. She talks about, you know, her mental illness and like how she struggled with it and how she kind of like recovered from that, how she was going through a really hard time. And just her discussion about that and death in general. I just thought it was very well done. Very well done. Handled very well. So I give this book 5 out of 5 stars. After you die, I love a morbid topic. Okay, and I think this brings up some important discussion about death in general. Has fully convinced me that I do not want to be involved. Post. So really enjoyed this. Also, if you don't not a big reader though, she has a great YouTube channel. She delves into a lot of great news stories when there's like news about dead bodies. She's usually on top of it, and I just love I just love her vibes too. I mean, she's just got, and then I find out she's just, I mean, stunning, right? I love her black hair. She's just got the perfect morbid death surrounding, like, it's just, I love it. I love it. But she's, I think she covers death in a very distinguished and insightful way and explains stuff very well. So, really enjoy it. Probably would maybe look into reading more of her books in the future, but not at the moment. Just because I am currently obsessed with another series. So that's that book. I will say I did start reading A Handmaid's Tale, and we will get to that one eventually, but someone put that book on hold, so I had to return it earlier than what I was expecting. So that book's gonna be that'll be in the future. But then I discovered some other books, so eventually I'll get to A Handmaid's Tale, I believe. Okay, so now we've got the redemption of Althalis. This is my new leech. 1 star, write a review. Okay, wait, let's go back. Actually, before I start writing a review, let's look at the book and stuff. I guess I should talk about it's supposedly fantasy, fiction, high fantasy, adventure, blah, blah, blah. It is 791 fucking pages long. This book is 691 pages too long. Would only recommend... Okay, I should probably stop blasting this book. Okay, talk about it a little bit first. Alright, we've got a saga. It's about a young thief and a bad dude, I guess, kind of. This is the most G-rated... I don't know how this is advertised as adult literature. This is maybe for a high-achieving, like, 4th or 5th grader. So it's a super easy read. It's the most boring fucking read because they, like, the plot is, like, repeated 4 fucking times. I swear. It's... We'll get into this into the review. But he's a thief, an occasional killer, sure. And then he gets... And this is, like, in, like, the ancient times, you know, before technology exists. He goes on a quest across this magical universe, thieving away, but his luck has turned against him, and so, like, he tries to rob a house, but he actually almost gets caught, and, like, dogs attack him, and so he runs away, and then he goes to a new town, and he attempts to rob this place, but they have this thing called paper money, but he doesn't realize paper money is a thing. He only steals gold. So he gets his hands on all of this paper money, but he doesn't realize that it's money. So he leaves it all there and then leaves, and then he finds out later that it's like but then he finally, you know, traverses across this countryside. And then this mysterious man appears and tells him, you should go steal this book in this magical house at the end of the world. And so he's like, all right, bet, my luck is down. So I should really consider, I should be careful. So he goes, and then he ends up finding out that there's a goddess at this house, and she's just like, you can't rob me. I am now going to teach you that this guy is bad. And then they have, like, some little... The house is a bit magical, and then he goes on an adventure, basically, to rally up a group of people that will fight the evil god, her evil brother, I guess, of this goddess. This book sucked. It was long. I could only recommend this to, would only recommend this book to people without any short-term memory, or maybe a high-achieving child who wants to read a long book. This is the most, like, PG, I guess that's not a complaint. I really wanted to not finish it. I really wanted to DNF, but if I DNF, I feel like it's unfair to write a review on Goodreads, so I always make sure that I can finish the books that I hate, so I can let people on Goodreads know. So the entire, like, end half of the book is basically an exact repeat of the first half with just the tiniest changes. every time something is discussed or explained in this book. Is it a novel? I don't know. What's the definition? Definition of novel. A fictitious prose narrative of book length, typically representing character and action with some degree of realism. Alright. So it is a novel. Every time something is discussed or explained in this book... Oh, no. Okay, so every time a major event in this book occurs, it is then discussed or explained a second time through dialogue, but we literally just read what happened, so you just read the same events happening twice. If I could type, maybe. Okay. Would not recommend. To anyone. Okay. Actually, I digress on that one. Every time a major event in this book occurs, it is then discussed or explained a second time through dialogue, but we literally just read what happened, so you just read the same event over again. It almost feels insulting about how much the authors assume I am like not okay. It almost feels insulting about how much the authors assume I forgot from the previous page. It truly just drags on. 0 out of 5 stars after finding out the authors went to jail for child abuse. As much as I would like to separate the art from the artist, when I see that they go to jail for child abuse, when anything comes around that's harmed a child, it's like my empathy goes down to 0. You don't accidentally abuse a child, you know? I feel like just not good. Waste of time. Skip this book. Alright, this book is 691 pages too long. Yes, I could have summarized it in maybe a 100-page novel. If it was a 100-page novel, this actually could have gotten like a 2 or 3 stars, I think. Because the storyline is actually not terrible. But the fact that the event occurs, and then they go and like tell the goddess what happened, but then they say exactly what happened. So we had literally just fucking read what happened. So it's like, we didn't need the summary. So that's just infuriating in itself. But then, it's just like, an event occurs that basically they have to go back in time to, like, change the events that occur. But like they only change like two tiny little things. I swear, they only change a couple tiny little things. So we literally just reread the same fucking story that we read in like the first 200 pages of the book. And it is so painful and it drags on. Also, it truly drags on. Also, every single thing that could go right for these characters goes right. Nothing goes wrong. They hardly face any adversity. Is that the right word that I want to do? Adversity. Difficulties. Yeah, they hardly face any adversity, making it an even more boring of a read. So, that's my discussion of this one. 800 pages wasted. I'm mad that I wasted, especially after Googling the authors, because I try to not look up the author. I like going in with a blank mindset for the book and the author, just because I think that's just the fairest, try to go, removes any bias. But then when I Google that, the author, because it's him and his wife. And then I find out that they literally went to jail in like the 70s, but that was before the internet, so they basically got to become like very successful authors after the fact that they went to jail for being caught red-handed abusing their child. They put their kid, their adopted child, in a fucking dog cage. Zero. 0 out of 5 stars if I could. I think they're dead now. They have since passed away, but golly. And so that is my review of the redemption of Althalis, which is too bad because I originally saw very positive comments on this book. So that is this book. So I digress. Now we have a lovely mystery novel, Truly Devious. I think this one's become a little bit popular. Obviously, it has 162,000 ratings. Oh, I waver between 3 and 4 stars. It was good. It wasn't phenomenal. Actually, I remember now. This one's getting a 3. Okay. So this book is a mystery series. It's not a novel. It's a fucking series, which I'm a little irked about because it says a novel, but it's a fucking series. So basically this entire book is like setting the premise of a murder mystery, 2 murder mysteries actually. But then we don't cover anything. So I'm going to have to go and get the other books. And I currently do have the second one. So I am currently, actually I should add that to we'll add that to currently reading. But this book was on hold. I just got it, so I ended up reading 3 other books in between while I waited, because I am not a patient human being, let me tell you. But we've got so it's like this is a school in Vermont maybe, but it's up on like a mountain. It's very desolate, and it's a special private school in like the 1900s, the early 1900s, a rich millionaire. I feel like, Rockefeller kind of vibes, right? Albert Ellingham. This is the man who, he was like, a millionaire, and he created a famous private school for basically genius children, and then also like rich kids from families who are friends with him. But basically what happens is his child and wife get kidnapped, and also one of the students is murdered, and so like they all end up being murdered, and so this murder, like these murders have never been solved, and so now we're now in true day, present day, and the school is still open, because when he passed away, um, since the daughter's body never was like found, the school is like dedicated to her, which I think her name is Alice. But so like the school still goes on. So you apply to this school, and if you're like a little genius, or if you just have like just you're fascinating, creative, special, but like a normal public school might not be a good fit for you, you might get accepted to this school. And so we have Stevie Bell. And so like her special thing is she's obsessed with true crime. She's a little mini Sherlock Holmes detective, I guess. But then like, we have like the friends. There's one who's like a YouTube star. There's one, she's like a mechanical engineering genius. So like the school has like a warehouse where like you can get your hands on like all sorts of building materials, chemicals. If you're interested in something, you get to go to school here. And so basically she is, she kind of got like she thinks she can solve the murder mystery because she's been obsessed with this murder mystery ever since she found out about this school's story. So she applied to go there. So like she's going to school, and then like this, it's a small school. You only go for 2 years. You go, I think, your junior and senior year of high school. But basically when they go to school, then they find out another kid present day at their school gets murdered. And so now she's, trying to solve the murder mystery from the 1920s, but now there's also a kid who, it was a mysterious death. And so Stevie kind of digs into that because she's like, she didn't believe that he just died on accident, kind of thing. And so we get some flashbacks to like the 1920s, and we get this events that were happening then, and then we also get present day Stevie Bell doing school and dealing with like regular stuff. If you are going to write a mystery novel, please make sure you have continuity between what you write in in your story. Otherwise, you lose the reader's trust in the book, in the writing, in the story, in the author. I don't know. If you are going to write a mystery novel, please make sure you have continuity between what you write in your story. Otherwise, you lose the reader's trust. As all facts matter when exposing a mystery, I guess. So I know this is like unrelated. My biggest complaint, it's not even like an important complaint. Basically, in, chapter 33 or whatever, for example, let's say it was chapter 33. I don't even think there's that many chapters. But if you write in chapter 33 that the students are going to meet at, behind the docks at 7 p.m., and then in chapter 35, you say the students met at 8 p.m. Like, you change the time, and it's not even though they all agreed that they were going to meet at 7, and then they now meet at 8, but there's no commentary on like why. And these are like specific times, things like that. You have lost my trust as a reader in a, a like a trustworthy narrative, even though it's not even related to the, the storyline. I'm sure she just but like, just, you lose my trust if you can't keep a time or a date that you talked about, 2 chapters before. If you can't remember that to that next chapter, if you can't keep track of the storyline that you are writing yourselves, then like, how am I supposed to trust a mystery? Yes, it sounds like the editor also did a shit job not catching this like miscontinuity. I know it has actually no effect on this book because all it was the kids met at 8 p.m. But she said in an earlier chapter that they were going to meet at 7 p.m. But just me being able to catch small little deviances that like aren't relevant, how am I supposed to trust that I like it's no Agatha Christie. This is a fun, it's a easy, uh, it is, it's an easy read, mostly enjoyable, but if you say the students will meet at 7 p.m. and then one chapter later, because there was a chapter in between, so is it 1 chapter later or 2 chapters later? 2 chapters later? They meet at 8 p.m. without any explanation. Oops. About why they are meeting later. You immediately lose my trust. Lose, not lost. Lose my trust as a reader if I can catch small discontinuities. Is that the right word? I think so. Maybe a rewrite happened or something, but the fact that it's not even like, 5 chapters away or like 10 chapters away. It's literally chapter 3 and then chapter 5 kind of thing. There's literally only 1 chapter separating it, so if you just sat down and read it all the way through, you probably would have been able to catch it if you have editors or people that are paying attention, but apparently we're not paying attention. Because then I literally had to go back because I was like, wait a fucking second. 8 p.m. And so I had to like go back and find where they discussed about like meeting, and they all said 7 p.m. And then there's notice, and it's like, I understand it's actually not even relevant to the true storyline, but you're writing a mystery novel. I need to be able to either, like, you need to already establish the fact that it is an unreliable narrative, or get your facts together. Keep your facts straight. No, it's no Agatha Christie novel, but I still, I don't know, enjoyed the dual murder mystery story lines occurring. This book mainly just sets up the series and gives plenty of background information, but not much comes to but the ending events in this novel feel slightly anticlimactic / I am just salty. This is a whole series when I wanted to have the mystery solved in book 1. Maybe that's unfair, but okay, if you're gonna write a mystery novel, please make sure you have continuity between what you write in your story, otherwise you lose the reader's trust as all facts matter when exposing a mystery. When exposing or attempting to solve a mystery. This is an easy read, mostly enjoyable, but if you say the students will meet at 7 p.m. and then 2 chapters later they meet at 8 p.m. without any explanation about why they are meeting later, you immediately lose my trust as a reader. If I can catch small discontinuities, even if they aren't relevant to the overall plot, it's a trust thing. I don't know. Alright, it's no Agatha Christie novel. Although she mentions, I would think I saw a review where like this author mentions Agatha Christie like so many times in this book. It's like, okay, we get it. You're a fan. We don't need a fangirl in the murder mystery novel. You're just honestly reminding me that there's better murder mystery novels I could be reading. Because I love an Agatha Christie novel, just FYI. I enjoy it. But those are definitely, especially nowadays, I feel like a little bit harder to read just because they're written in a previous era and they're just a little more dense. It's no Agatha Christie novel, but I still enjoy the dual murder mystery storylines occurring. This book mainly sets up the series and gives plenty of background information, but the ending events in this novel feel slightly anticlimactic. / I am just salty. This is a whole series when I wanted to have a mystery solved in book 1. The romantic segue, is that it? How do you say segue? Is segue a word that you can use? I didn't know that segue. Is this the wrong? Oh, thank you. Fabulous. I had no idea that it was spelled like that. S-E-G-U-E. Yeah, I'd say it's a segue. The romantic segue, felt cliche. And I don't know. I feel like it feels necessary. But maybe I am just sick of presidential election occurred. Yeah, the Segway is those little like roller thingies. So there's like I know it's high school drama, but there's like, a small so her parents work for a senator, but she hates this senator and this politics and stuff. And then there's a kind of a douchey guy at this school that they have no I feel like they've had zero chemistry, but then all of a sudden they're like making out after an event. And then it's just like and then at the end we find out that we find a big, I don't know, drama situation related, to the son and the senator kind of thing. So it's just like this feels cliche, and maybe I'm just tired of hearing about politics, so but I wanted a murder mystery. I didn't need a political rant, If I can tell what your if I can tell in your just like random fiction novel what your politics are, it's just it's just an eye roll to me. I don't give a shit. I don't care about your politics. I just want to read a fun murder mystery. But that's just me. If I wanted to read about politics, I would pick up a nonfiction political book, or read a political fictional book. I don't need random side rants for either side of the spectrum. So it's like, whatever. But 3 out of 5. I will definitely, I am excited. I don't think I'm excited. I will attempt the next book. Let's see here. I am interested enough in this mystery to pursue the next book in this series. But I will admit, thank you. I will admit that I tried to start reading the second book, and it's just okay, so on a side note, I have read my most favorite series of the year. I've discovered my favorite series of the year, book of the year, everything. So now everything just feels a bit boring. So it's gonna be a while. It's gonna be a couple weeks until I touch Truly Devious #2 in the series. But that's just me. I hate to be such like I feel bad. Like I feel like I'm being mean kind of, and I hate to be mean, especially if I ever like wrote a novel in the future. I better be prepared for a scathing review. you know? I better be careful. Can't turn into like the hypocrite or whatever, but I I do feel bad because I feel like some of these authors do definitely probably go down and like read their reviews and stuff. But I don't know, it was okay. And then I'm also annoyed that don't fucking lie to me and tell me it's a trilogy when I don't know. It's whatever. And then you have a fourth book? Just oh, it's okay. 5? Jesus. Okay. It looks like maybe it's a trilogy. Maybe. I don't know. Is there extra in the fourth? I don't like reading about, I don't like reading the fourth book, fifth book kind of situation, or third book, because there might be spoilers from like the second book, so I don't want to. I didn't feel devious at all when reading this, actually. It felt a bit cheesy, so she's actually pretty lucky she got 3 stars. But I tell you what, dude, I look at the numbers, right? We look at the 162,000 and then we see the 22,000 reviews kind of thing. I look at these stats and I swear to God, every single time, unless it's like a national classic, if I see and usually these are probably like most, especially modern day ones, I feel like they're more, book talk or like social media book famous. Most of them that I've read recently have been straight up garbage. And maybe I am just too evil, or like not evil, but just too negative of a critiquer. But I've read a lot of fucking books in my time. You missed it. You missed it. I did get a book. I just gave this book. This book would get a 0. The Redemption of Althalis. Oops. This bitch gets a 0 out of 5. Well, I can only give it a 1 out of 5. But this bitch, after I found out that the authors are child abusers and went to jail for it, and then got to become famous authors after the fact, bothers me. So I would give it a 0 if I could. But I digress. But that's another leech. It could be my version of book club. I do try to kind of update these regularly. Alright, and so then we had Eileen. And if you recall, since her name is so unique, we actually just read... Well, or I did. Maybe I didn't rate it. Oh, here we go. We'll go to page 2. Yes. So I really enjoyed my year of rest and relaxation, and I like this. I really enjoyed this author. So I was like, you know what? I've heard a lot of things about Eileen. Let's do another of hers. And I enjoyed it. She writes about just like shitty women. It was a half-assed redemption for sure. For that book. I love how I actually added, so if you don't know, I actually did add, you can't see it because all of this is white, but I did add a little, you can see chat now, I think. I added a chat overlay, but you really can't see it because the font is fucking white, and I have a white background right now. So, I tried. I attempted. Maybe I can switch it up for my book reviews, I guess. I'll maybe change the font color black, maybe? I don't know. We'll see what we can do there. But, Eileen. Eileen, she's, this is like the 1960s, I think, in New England. And this is like the 5 to 7 days, I don't remember exactly, like every chapter is like a day before, or like so this book opens up and it's like an account of like the week before she decides to leave town permanently and disappear from her current life. And she's got a shitty, abusive, alcoholic dad, mostly verbally abusive, I believe. And she lives with her dad still. Her mother has since passed away, but her mother was a pretty miserable person as well. She works at a juvenile detention facility. She is also part alcoholic, I would probably recommend, or say. She stalks one of the prison guards there. I don't know, it's just so funny to, like, it's almost like refreshing to read about just a shitty woman. I don't know. Just the way she writes about them, I think they're enticing, and it's like one of those train wrecks, you know? You can't look away. So I really enjoyed this one. This one's gonna get, but basically it's like 5 to 7 days, so like the first chapter is like Monday, and then Tuesday. And she, like, throughout the novel, she, like, foreshadows, like, but, you know, what to come, what events took place to cause her to leave, because basically it opens up on her, and she's already been plotting to, you know, run away from her current life and her shitty situation that she's in, but she hasn't gotten the motivation to finally, like, to really leave her abusive and shitty life that she is dealing with. And so I will admit, it drags on a little bit, but the ending, you couldn't have, my jaw was on the floor. I was not expecting it, but it made me actually laugh out loud. So, I am giving this book a 4. Um, to preface, I, enjoy Otessa's writing about, um, about women. About, I don't know, the darker side of women. So I already knew I, would probably really enjoy this book. I was not disappointed. Um, um, do do do. Um, the ending was a good shocker and actually caught me off guard, but um I was able to, like, I was able to figure out what happened, a page or two before, like, we actually get to before they actually, like, explained the event, before, like, we actually get to the climax. So that was really fun. But so suddenly, I guess, figuring out the climax before, like, I don't know, a page or two before actually reading it was such a fun, such a, I don't know, such an enjoyable experience that made me laugh. I don't know, laugh. Um, shocked out loud. Because I was like, such a good WTF moment. Like, what the fuck did she just get involved in? So that's that one, I guess. To preface, I enjoy Otessa's writing about the darker side of women. It is refreshing. So I already knew I would probably really enjoy this book. I was not disappointed. The ending was a good shocker and actually caught me off guard, but suddenly figuring out the climax a page or two before actually reading it was such an enjoyable experience that left me shocked and laughing out loud. Such a good WTF moment, and totally worth the build up hearing about the days before Eileen leaves town. So definitely a 4 out of 5 stars. Very, very, I just like this one. This one was fun. But I already kind of knew what I was getting myself into, so a little bit biased there. And now we've got Book of the Year. Dungeon Crawler Carl. Amazing. Fantastic. Oops, actually, we'll go back to my books. I don't know if I've currently reading. Okay. Five-star. Read, write a review. Book of the year. Funny, exciting, new, I read this book in about 24 hours because I could not put it down. I am obsessed. I don't know what to... Maybe I should actually talk about the book. I'm such a terrible book reviewer. Maybe I'll get a process down eventually. The apocalypse will be televised. Actually, I took a picture of the inside of the cover because even just the inside of the cover and like the summary of the book, okay, just cracks me up. Welcome to the first book in the wildly popular and addictive dungeon crawler Carl series by Matt Dinneman, now with bonus material. Okay, you know what's worse than breaking up with your girlfriend? Being stuck with her prize-winning show cat. And you know what's worse than that? An alien invasion, the destruction of all man-made structures on Earth, and the systematic exploitation of all the survivors for a sadistic intergalactic game show. That's what. Join Coast Guard vet Carl and his ex-girlfriend's cat, Princess Donut, as they try to survive the end of the world or just get to the next level in a video game-like trap-filled fantasy dungeon. A dungeon that's actually the set of a reality television show with countless viewers across the galaxy. Exploding goblins, magical potions, deadly drug-dealing llamas. This ain't your ordinary game show. Welcome, Crawler. Welcome to the dungeon. Survival is optional. Keeping the viewers entertained is not. This is like the Hunger Games Battle Royale-esque. It's not Battle Royale, though. They are fighting monsters in the dungeons, but humans can kill each other. So there are some humans that, like, are killing other humans in this dungeon thingy. But this whole situation is hilarious. I don't know why it's showing this cover. I actually prefer the other cover. This cover makes it look too sci-fi, I feel like. Let's see here. Dungeon crawler. So this is the cover that I see, and I think they should continue to go with this cover because this cover is so much better. But it's absolutely hilarious because this poor man leaves. It's like 2 or 3 in the morning, and his cat has jumped out the window. He has just broken up with his girlfriend because she's cheating on him, and he just found out about it on Instagram. So he's like, this bitch. And then his cat fucking jumps out of the window. So it's like freezing. It's winter. He goes out in boxers and pink Crocs to go and get the fucking cat. And that's when the earth ends and everything. Anyone who is like anyone who is inside a building at this time is dead. So it's only people who were outside of buildings and outside under open sky who survived this. And then basically it's like aliens like invaded their brains basically, and was not invaded, but like sent a message to their brains basically saying, hey, you've got like 1 hour to collect all of your to collect what you want and to enter this dungeon. You don't have to, but like basically everything on the surface of Earth has been destroyed. So you don't really have many choices unless you know how to survive, I guess. So but he is outside in fucking boxers with a cat, so he's freezing to death, so he goes down these stairs into the dungeon. But I don't know. I think this book was just phenomenal. It made me really, really excited, and that's really good because I was starting to get kind of burnt out on a lot of the books that I was reading. Not burnt out, but it's just, I was sitting down to read for only like an hour. I had to force myself to sit down and read this past couple weeks until I touched this novel. And now my life has been completely involved with this. But the cat is a diva. She's hilarious and fantastic. She can talk. So basically she gets a power that she can talk. So she is like a hilarious talking cat. I don't know. This is like being a video game character in a Hunger Games-esque world where they don't have, like, it's Hunger Games-y in the sense that they can have sponsors and they have a person that like helps them. It's hard to, I don't know. I don't even, like, the book summary really tells you all you need to do, but if I had to recommend one book for people to read, it's this one. This is it's so good. I really enjoyed it. Everything about this was hilarious. There's fucking llamas who spit fire, but they have meth on them, and so he like loots the meth off of their body, and then they use it to like trade that for resources with the goblins. And then the goblins like roll out to go on a drug war. And this is like the first floor. So basically we get the first and second floor in Dungeon Crawler Carl #1. And it's like these first two levels of the dungeon are kind of like, you know, an introductory video game. It's the you know, beginners learning trials levels kind of thing, but like millions of people have died. Like I think maybe like I want to say like maybe 10 million people make it into the dungeon, and like by the time we get to like the second floor, there's only like 1 million left maybe. So these poor humans are like dying. But just the aliens, the characters, everything about this has been actually very refreshing and phenomenal. And this is what I enjoy in a book. So, yeah. And so I obviously immediately went to read the second, which I also read in under a day. This great, second book to this series. Just as good and exciting and funny as the first. I truly cannot get enough of this series. Read this book could not put down. I just about started well, I was going to start the third one, which I really want to do, but I decided I should actually sit down and do a book review. So that's what I'm doing today instead of reading it. But then again, I'm going to be gone for Thanksgiving and stuff. I'm visiting family. So I'm going to use that. I'm carpooling, so I'm going to use that 9-hour drive to read the third book. I cannot wait for 2025 when the next 3 books are supposed to come out, I believe. Let's see. Load! Go faster! There we go. So the third one is the Dungeons Anarchist cookbook, which I think is such a funny title. I don't know if this one's come out yet. If these, like, there's ratings. And I don't know if he has maybe like a Patreon or one of those books. Because I don't know. Okay, it says published. Have they come out yet? Dude, I fucking Googled it. Book 4? Can I buy it? Release date? Has it already come out? June 2021? Ace Books pickup. Okay. Pickup 4 through 6. Do I have to go somewhere special maybe? Because I swear the last time I Googled it, it said... I don't know what this is. Alright. I shouldn't go to random websites while I'm streaming. But, I don't know. Fantastic. Could not put down. Can't wait to devour the rest of this series. Because I think this guy originally, like, started writing these on, like, as, like, a blog or, like, one of those, like, Patreon or, like, things where, like, you know, they post small little snippets. And then I think it finally turned into, like, such a huge thing that he then published the novels. I'm not sure. Not 100%, but I'm really excited. This book covers floor 3. And then this next book is going to cover floor 4. But yeah. These are my 5 stars. I haven't read more fun adult literature in a hot minute, so truly my fave. And yeah, I think that wraps it up. We've got the Dungeon Anarchist Cookbook coming up next, most likely, and then everything just feels boring after these. So hopefully I'll get around to reading this guy. I've got a couple other books that I've checked out from the library. We'll see. We'll see what I get around to before I have to return it, but I think that's kind of it for this book review. So I guess I will call it there, and then I'll be back on to stream video games later this evening. So bye, thanks for joining.